Episode 13, The Rundown, here at Redskins Park. Kyle Stackpole, Gabe Henderson. Stevie's behind the camera today, behind the mic. She's on the ones and twos.
Hey.
I'm excited, man. I'm excited. It's been a lot of breaking news. I wouldn't say breaking news, but it's been a lot of news coming out of Redskins Park the last couple of days, man. It's an exciting time.
Oh, of course. I mean, even from the last time we recorded, there's been so many different moves, and the front office and the coaching staff is finally starting to come together, and you're going to see, what this new look Redskins team is going to look like going forward. So it is exciting.
It is exciting. One thing that's exciting right now is to announce these new additions to the Redskins coaching staff. I'm just going to be honest, I'm probably going to mess up some of these names. But it is what it is. Starting with the tight ends coach, Pete Honer. Receivers coach, Jim Hostler. Randy Jordan's back, running backs coach. Offensive line coach who has a crazy resume, a really good resume, John Matsko. He's been to 2 Super Bowls. We'll talk about him later. Drew Terrell's assistant wide receivers coach, Terrell Wharton, assistant offensive line coach. And then, I guess what everybody wanted to know, who's going to be this quarterbacks coach that everybody's talking about? Ken Zampese. He's got a brief stint in Cleveland. He's mainly known for his stint in Cincinnati. But that's all the guys from the offensive side of the ball. Defensive side of the ball, get through this quickly. Chris Harris, defensive backs. Sam Mills, the third defensive line. Richard Rogers, assistant defensive backs coach. Brent, help me with this. Visselmeyer, assistant defensive backs coach. He'll also be coaching the nickel position. We already know Nate Katzer. He's the guy special teams coordinator. Get him back again. Luke Del Rio, offensive quality control. Ben Jacobs, assistant special teams. Vincent Rivera, Coach Rivera, said that he has no relation to him.
I don't know if he said no relation. He said he's not his son.
He said he's not his son.
Could be his nephew.
Exactly. But defensive
We're
quality.
Need to confirm that.
Can't deny or confirm any of what I just said with Vincent Rivera being related to Ron Rivera. But at the same time, he's going to be defensive quality control coach. I can't confirm that. Now, offensive quality control is Todd Storm.
All right. So,
yeah.
After reading all those names, what's your first impression of this staff?
First impression is that there is a lot of, I wouldn't say history, but there's a lot of experience on this roster of coaches, and I'm excited to see what the future will look like for the Redskins. Of course, we can't get through all of the coaches today. I think the main thing today is we want to start with the offensive. Give you guys a brief rundown, no pun intended, a brief rundown of these coaches, the offensive coaches, and what you should expect, where these coaches have been, who have these coaches coached. There's a lot of coaches or a few coaches that have been to Super Bowls on this staff. I mean, a lot of these coaches were coaches for the Carolina Panthers, so they were coaching in Super Bowl 50. So it's going to be a lot of experience here, a lot of winning minds, a lot of like-minded individuals, and I think the coaches and the players, I think the chemistry is going to be very unique going forward.
For sure, yeah. I think the biggest thing that I noticed is that I read somewhere, so it's only 5 of these coaches were not on Carolina's staff last year.
That's crazy.
So, I mean, people are calling it Carolina North, and you can call it whatever you want, but Ron Rivera, the Redskins have given him the power, to bring his own guys in, to control a lot of things, in this building, and he showed that. He's a really loyal guy, and he showed that by hiring a lot of his assistants from Carolina back to Washington. So he has a lot of familiar faces. There is 2 holdovers, like we said, Randy Jordan and Nate Katzer, but these are Rivera's guys. He knows them. He knows what they can put out, and for a long time there, Carolina had sustained success. So he's really hoping the formula with the players here can have those same results.
Zach Selby wrote an article. I guess, first and foremost, we're going to start with Scott Turner, who was named OC last week. Episode 12 of The Rundown, we briefed you guys on who he is as a person, his roots to the Redskins organization. But Zach Selby wrote an incredible article on Redskins.com that's up right now. The 5 things to know about new OC Scott Turner. What was your biggest takeaway from that?
I think the biggest thing, at first he's Norv Turner's son. Obviously, Norv Turner coached here late 1990s. And so it was interesting because he was in high school when he was coaching, and now he's back here as an offensive coordinator. And I think the biggest thing was what he's been able to do with quarterbacks. So he came to Carolina as a quality control coach in 2011, which is the same year that Ron Rivera was the head coach and the same year that they drafted Cam Newton. And Cam Newton even said it. Scott Turner was a big part of his development and his ability to continue to get better and continue to learn more within the offense. And then also when Scott Turner was in Minnesota, he worked with Teddy Bridgewater his first 2 years.
Right.
And Bridgewater made a Pro Bowl 2016, I think it was 2015. And then he worked with Sam Bradford the next year, and he did really well. So he's had a lot of experience. He hasn't had coordinator experience like we talked about, but he has a lot of experience grooming young quarterbacks, making young quarterbacks, transforming them into Pro Bowlers. So the Redskins are hoping he can do a similar thing with Dwayne Haskins, and I think him combined with the quarterbacks coach Ken Zampese is definitely a good sign for the Redskins' new signal caller.
And you got me to my next point. Ken Zampese. He is a guy that has a lot of valuable experience. He's worked with a lot of young quarterbacks, so that's very positive. Thinking forward for Dwayne Haskins' growth. When we look at Ken Zampese, we look at his time in Cleveland. He coached Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield had the most passing touchdowns for an NFL rookie at that point. He had 27 touchdowns in 2018.
Yep.
So that was that's positive. And then rewinding back, he was in Cincinnati for 13 years, and we all know Andy Dalton. He was a key instrument in his development. Andy Dalton was the first quarterback in Bengals history to go to 5 straight playoff games.
I think it might have been 4 straight years, but
for 4 straight years, and it was like 2011, 2015, somewhere around that range.
Yep.
But that says a lot because he has credible experience developing young quarterbacks. And for fans that's listening right now, you can definitely accredit his experience, his success, and you can see that and say, hey, this is positive going forward with Dwayne Haskins, a guy that's similar to a big. I think, in my opinion, Dwayne Haskins has a bigger arm than Baker Mayfield. I think he has a bigger arm than John Kitna and Carson Palmer and Andy Dalton. So it's positive.
Oh, for sure. I think the biggest thing is that when he got hired in Cincinnati, he got hired before the draft, and he actually helped and scouted the quarterbacks of that draft, and they ended up drafting Carson Palmer in 2003.
Yep.
So not only was he involved in Carson Palmer's development and John Kitna, he helped him win Comeback Player of the Year, but he was one scouting and looking at that young talent. And then same thing in Cleveland. So he got hired in January of 2018 to coach the Browns, and they had the first selection, and they hadn't picked yet. And so he helped in selecting Baker Mayfield, and then, like you said, Baker Mayfield had an amazing rookie year, finished second Offensive Rookie of the Year to Saquon Barkley. So not only is he known for developing these guys, but he's shown the ability to recognize talent and be a good talent evaluator and know that, okay, which guys are going to pan out at the next level. And while he didn't draft Haskins and he didn't have any sort of connection with Haskins, the fact that he's coming in here, joining the staff, you have to think that he has big things ahead for Haskins. He has, he's positive thoughts going to Haskins, just based on why he took the job. So
Haskins is to start a season out with OC. Like he actually gets to start. It's his first time ever in the NFL. Of course, his second year in the NFL, but starts his second year campaign going into the season as a starting quarterback on paper with the offensive coordinator who has experience with rookie quarterbacks. Like, you can't ask for anything better than that.
Exactly. Yeah, both Turner and Zampese, a ton of experience with young quarterbacks, and I think that's what Rivera wanted to bring in. I mean, if Haskins is the guy, then they're going to bring in the staff to get him where he needs to go, and it seems like they've done that.
They've done that, and what we have to do is pay some of these bills. Redskins defensive lineman number 93, Jonathan Allen, hates to lose. So he's teaming up with Papa John's and you to help donate to Sasha Bruce Youth Work, helping homeless children in our region every day. Team 93 needs you to make it a winning day for your family and these special children. You'll get a large 2-topping pizza and an order of wings for just $20. And Papa John's will donate 93 cents to Sasha Bruce's Youth Work for every single order. Play to eat, play to give, but play to win, because nobody wants to lose.
Did you know that your Washington Redskins are sponsored by Koch Industries? That's Koch Coke. There's 67,000 U.S. employees make a lot of things that make game day better. Greener turf, they make that. Stronger paper products for tailgating, they make that too. And electronic components and TVs and smart devices so you can watch a Redskins victory anywhere, yep, they make that too. See all that they make for on and off the field at kochmakesthat.com.
Kyle, before we went on break, we were talking about Ken Zampese, new quarterbacks coach that just got announced. As a quarterback, you got to have somebody to throw the ball to. You need receivers. So with Terry McLaurin, those are the guys that are here now. They finally have a new wide receivers coach that was just announced. Jim Hostler is the man. A ton of experience, Super Bowl winning coach. He was a wide receivers coach for the Baltimore Ravens when they won Super Bowl 47, I believe, to beat the 49ers. He's coached for 10 teams in the NFL. This guy has been around the league. He's coached some big name guys, Sammy Watkins, T.Y. Hilton, Jack Doyle. The
list goes on and on.
The list goes on and on. So he brings some valuable experience. And for me, being a receiver guy, playing receiver in college, receivers just hold a special place.
Do you guys
in my
know
heart.
that Gabe played receiver in college?
Don't look it up, please.
I wonder how many episodes you mentioned that on.
I don't know. I think it's the first time I mentioned it in 2020.
Ooh.
Well, it might be.
Is Stevie talking junk back there?
Wasn't me. Kyle said it.
It was me.
It's all good.
All right, Gabe played at Liberty. He was a hell of a player.
Nah, I wasn't. But this guy, Jim Hostler, is a hell of a coach. And he has a great group of receivers, young receivers that are willing to learn, willing to grow, and have a year under their belt, in the NFL. And now that you have another experienced coach in the room that can help them, take their game to that next step, I think it's going to be great having Jim Hostler here who can provide his experience and say, like, hey, this is what Devontae Adams did. Devontae Adams, what was that, 2018, I believe.
2018, yeah.
2018.
Passing game coordinator.
Yeah, he was a passing game coordinator for the Packers in 2018. Jim Hostler was. And Devontae Adams had 13 touchdowns that year, went to a Pro Bowl, was second in receiving, right?
Great year. I think so.
T.Y. Hilton had 3 straight 1,000-yard seasons with the Colts when Jim Hostler was the receivers coach in Indianapolis. So he brings a lot to the table, Kyle.
Yeah, for sure. I think the biggest thing that stands out to me, and I know he's only in Carolina for 1 year, but Carolina has a lot of young receivers too. Yeah. So they have DJ Moore, They have Curtis Samuel, and his ability to work with them, that's only going to set him up for the group he's going to work with in Washington, because at the end of this season, there were 3 rookies that were starting at wide receiver: Terry McLaurin, Kelvin Harmon, Steven Sims. So the fact that Jim Hostler, he's done it before, not only in all these other places, but just last year in Carolina, and they had a lot of success.
Yeah.
Especially DJ Moore, he had a breakout year. And so the fact that he has that familiarity, and he's been in so many situations with so many different receivers, and he just brings so many new perspectives to the Redskins. Plus, he's a guy that Ron Rivera trusts. So to bring him in is definitely big, and it's a big year for these receivers, especially the young guys, and also guys like Trey Quinn and Paul Richardson, whoever else is back, because they started to look good at the end of last year, and let's see if they can take that next step and become more consistent and get this offense back on track.
Another person that's looking to make a next step in his position groups is Randy Jordan. Randy Jordan, a guy that we announced earlier in the podcast. He's back. He's back with Ron Rivera, this coaching staff. And apparently Ron thought it was a great move keeping Randy Jordan here. We already know Randy Jordan's resume, coaching Adrian Peterson, Darius Geis, Chris Thompson, those guys. AP is going to be AP. To coach, in my opinion, to coach a room with so many different alpha males like that, it takes a special coach to do so and to have success. And Randy Jordan has had success, and I think it's going to be exciting having him as the the running backs coach with a guy like John Matsky who, in my opinion, has the most experience on this offense. He was the run game he was promoted to run game coordinator in Carolina in 2016. He was the coach on the Super Bowl, NFC champion Carolina Panthers team when they played in Super Bowl 50. So he has a lot of experience. He won a Super Bowl in St. Louis. They beat the Titans that year, Super Bowl 34, I believe. And this guy has a lot to bring to the table. I mean, you can tell that, this is such a great hire because you rarely see a coach that is spent his entire coaching career at one position. You usually see coach go from tight ends to receivers to running backs.
Yep.
The majority of his coaching career, John Maskey, has been at the offensive line position.
His entire career.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it right now, and it's so even going back to college. So he was the offensive line coach at Miami in 1977.
Wow.
And I think pretty much every year since he's been offensive line coach until he got promoted to running game coordinator
Which is technically,
in 2016. So that is an insane amount of experience at a ton of different places. And like you said, I think so having him, and he's been with Rivera since Rivera got there, since he got to Carolina in 2011. So, and I mean, that running game with Christian McCaffrey was,
Oh my gosh.
I mean, it's been electric the last couple of years. So just, I think combining someone who knows what Rivera wants to do running the football, but then you also have Randy Jordan who knows the personnel and knows what makes them tick and what motivates them. I think combining the two is going to be huge for this running game. Because, I mean, we're not sure what's going to happen with Chris Thompson. Now he's a free agent, but AP's going to be back. Geis is going to be back. Bryce Love is going to be back from injury, the fourth-round pick, 2019.
I'm excited about him.
Me too. He was awesome in college, and it stinks that he wasn't able to be on the field his rookie year, because I think he would have really been another one of those
weapon.
rookies.
Yeah.
Another one of the rookies that has that contributed a lot year one. You kind of forget about him, but he's going to come back. He's going to make a name for himself. So I think the combination between Randy Jordan and John Matsko.
I told you I'm going to screw up these names by the end of the podcast.
I think those two are going to be a good match.
Yeah, I'm just excited just to see how this all will play out. I mean, he had so much success, like on so many different teams. So bringing that experience with your likes of your Kens and Peasies and your Jim Hostlers and your Scott Turners, like it only, makes up a very successful offensive group. Which another coach, our next coach, which is the tight ends coach, Pete Honer.
Yep.
Pete Honer, 22 years in the NFL. 9 years, his last 9 seasons were with the Carolina Panthers and Ron Rivera. Most notably, he coached Greg Olsen. Everybody knows who Greg Olsen is. In my opinion, he's a future Hall of Famer. Greg Olsen is the epitome of a tight end. I mean, he can run, he can block, he can catch, he can literally do everything that you need. And having him here with Vernon Davis is still under contract, so Jeremy Sprinkle. We don't know about Jordan Reed just yet. I'm not sure what the case is with him, but if, let's say, Jordan Reed comes back, I mean, this guy he has the experience. I think Pete Honer coached Vernon Davis in San Francisco.
Yep.
So that familiarity right there is already going to, take precedence over anything once they first, have that first meeting. It's like, hey, Vernon, remember back in 06 when we did this and we did that? So just having that experience and bringing that to the table with this offensive coaching staff, I think is going to be huge, and it can only be positive and go up from here.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, real quick on Honer, I think the biggest thing for me is, like I said with other guys, just the familiarity with Ron Rivera. He came in 2011 too. So when Ron Rivera is, he's a defensive-minded coach. He has that background, but he knows what he wants to do offensively, and he's bringing in the guys that are going to help him do that. And, I mean, Carolina had a lot of success offensively when he was there, and he thinks, hey, I came to Washington because of the raw young talent, because of the veteran leadership. I think this team can become a consistent winner now. Now it's a matter of getting the coaches in place to execute the scheme and put these players in the best position. And I think just the fact that all of them have so much experience working with Rivera is going to be huge, because you're not going to have the learning curve of getting to know the different coaches, what makes them tick, all this and that. They know exactly what to expect. They can hit the ground running with their respective position groups, and I think it's going to help the offense a lot.
Perfect, man. What another thing that's going to help this podcast a lot is these bills, because we need to pay these bills if we want to keep this podcast going.
You're right about that. Looking for another chance to win? The 100K Scratcher replay from the Virginia Lottery is exactly that. Now, through March 31st, any non-winning Virginia Lottery Scratcher offers a shot at winning $500 in a daily drawing or even a $10,000 grand prize. Here's the lowdown. Any non-winning Virginia Lottery Scratcher can be entered into a daily drawing. In each daily drawing, 2 players will win $500 each. every entry into a daily drawing is automatically entered into the grand prize drawing, which is set for April 7th. On April 7th, one lucky player will win $10,000 grand prize. All entries must be entered either via valottery.com/replay or the Virginia Lottery app. The fun doesn't stop if you don't win on your scratcher. Just replay it with the 100K scratcher replay. Visit valottery.com/replay for more information. The odds of winning a prize in the $100,000 scratcher replay promotion depend on the number of entries received.
Kyle, before we went on break, we named all of the offensive coaching staff, name, position, their experience. Now we got to talk about these offensive quality control guys. We can just brief summarize. You got Todd Storm, who's the offensive quality control coach in Carolina. Drew Terrell had the same position in Carolina. And then now the one and only Luke Del Rio, Jack Del Rio's son, comes here with a lot of experience, playing experience. Played at, Florida, Alabama.
Yep.
And then, what was it, Oregon?
Oregon State.
Oregon State. So got some guys some young, hungry guys that have experience that can, help these coaches do what they do best. And I think it's going to, overall just help this whole offense just come together as one and have the success that you and I know that they have the potential to have this year.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Todd Storm and Drew Terrell, they were with Carolina last year, so another couple guys that know what to expect from Ron Rivera. Yeah. And even the guys who were, the lowest on the coaching totem pole, they already know exactly what to expect. They're not working for a new head coach and have different responsibilities. It's new players, same responsibilities. So that cohesion is going to help a lot, and I think it's really going to expedite the learning curve for these coaches as they get acclimated to Redskins Park.
Well, you got to have a front office to help the coaching staff.
That helps.
There was some more news out of Redskins Park this past week. If you want to discuss that a little bit, I know you have it right in front of you, starting with Kyle Smith.
Yeah, so Kyle Smith, he has served as the director of college scouting since June of 2017, and so he's had a big role in the draft, and the Redskins have done really well in the draft the last couple of years. So it was announced that he has been promoted to the vice president of player personnel. So now not only is he going to oversee the college section, but also the professional ranks.
Good for him.
And I think they view him really highly.
Yeah.
And
it runs in his family too. His dad has been a GM, so he has that knowledge. But I know I just got
exactly.
you off
And he's well respected within the building, and you can see and even before he was the director of college scouting, he was scouting the Southeast region, and obviously the SEC. There might not be any more talent, and that's coming out of the SEC. So, yeah, it's not nice to keep someone like that in house, someone who has gone through the process before, and someone that Rivera has actually worked, like you said, with his father. So there's a connection. There's a connection there. So, and Rivera even said it during his press conference when talking about the front office. He said, "I really liked what they've done in the past few drafts, and you can see that with what's happened on the field." So, yeah, congrats to Kyle Smith.
Congrats.
That's a big promotion for him.
Yeah.
And then
with a corresponding move with Doug Williams, he's now the VP of Player Development. So Malcolm Blacken Malcolm Blacken will still be here, but Doug Williams would be the VP of that department. And I like that. I like that move. It keeps Doug is so good with the players here.
Yep.
And just his experience. He's won a Super Bowl here. Dan Snyder speaks highly of him. Like, Doug Williams is such a great person, and having him as player development, a guy who keeps these players intact on and off the field, I think it will be a huge step in the right direction for him also.
Oh, for sure. And then another thing quick with Kyle Smith being promoted, so Tim Gribble, who was the assistant director of college scouting, he now gets promoted to Kyle's spot. So a couple of promotions within there. Doug Williams moving over to the player development side. And then the final move is another guy from Carolina, surprise, surprise, Rob Rogers, who was hired as the senior vice president of football administration. So he's going to be a guy that handles a lot of the salary caps and contract negotiations. And he also was the head of a analytical department, or there was an analytical approach that was starting within Carolina that he took over. So he's a guy that, just going back through his timeline, he's been with Carolina for a long time, worked with Rivera for a long time, and he's a guy that Rivera has a ton of confidence in and that is going to work closely with. So it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, he's a guy that we won't really hear a lot of because you don't hear too much about the salary cap guys, but it just shows another guy that Rivera has faith in and seeing what he can do.
So now that we've talked about all the coaching staff, all the changes that's happened on the offensive side of the ball, next week we'll talk defense. But now that we've talked about the offensive side of the ball, for you, what player are you most excited to see thrive in this offense?
I think it's got to be
other than Dwayne Haskins, because that's pretty obvious.
I think it's Terry McLaurin. I mean, I think it's a guy that he had so much success last year. It's like, okay, what can he do now with Dwayne Haskins as a starter, with a running game that should have Darius Geis back and all these other guys back, and receivers with another year experience? Because I feel like he started out so hot, and then defenses, they viewed him as a number one receiver, and he had to adapt to that. So I think him being on a more stable, consistent offense and seeing what he can do with a guy like Jim Hostler, who's done it with a lot of young guys. And I mean, Terry's already had an awesome rookie year, but there's always that next step you can take forward. How about you?
I think Wes Martin's my guy. With a guy like John Matsko in the building, with valuable experience. He's got a lot of Pro Bowlers. He's coached a lot of Pro Bowlers. Orlando Pace is a guy that really stands out to me as far as, like, who's your guy who's your best player that you got on your resume? And I think Orlando Pace is that guy. I'm not comparing Orlando Pace to Wes Martin at all, so please don't get that confused at all. But I do think Wes Martin showed a lot of upside this year. We saw a lot of Wes Martin this year with Brandon Sheriff being out. And I think his ceiling, he has a lot of potential. I think his ceiling is only going to go up. Wes Martin, I'm speaking of. His ceiling's only going to get higher. And with John Matsko in the building, I think we'll see a new and improved and better Wes Martin.
For sure. So I think that's everything we got today.
Yeah.
Covered the offense. I think before we get out of here, if you guys can make sure that you subscribe, rate, and comment wherever you get your podcast, whether
Please.
that be Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher. We're now on Stitcher.
Let's go.
Spotify. So it really helps out. And I mean, we want to know that you guys are listening. If you have any questions, and we just want to interact more with the fans. So if you could do that, that'd be awesome. We're going to be doing some cool things over the next couple of weeks. Gabe is going to be going to the Pro Bowl in Orlando.
Yep.
So Gabe and Zach, our other staff writer, will be in Orlando for that. And then I will be in Miami for the Super Bowl. So a ton of stuff to talk to there. But, yeah, just keep up to date on Redskins.com, Redskins app, Redskins social media. It should be a boring time for an NFL team that didn't make the playoffs, but this is really exciting, and there's a ton of new things happening every single week. So we're happy to share with you guys.
Before we get out of here, man, can I ask a request from you?
What's up?
Can you put this helmet on right here and sign us out?
All right.
You did it last week, so I had to do it. I had to get it out of you because that's like a small helmet, and it fits you perfectly. Let's go, baby.
Right, so
Let's go.
This is my first time doing this. So for Kyle Stackpole, Gabe Henderson, Stevie Katz, this is the rundown.
Are uninvited pests ruining your plans? Let PMSI, the pest control partner of the Washington Redskins, handle it for you. Call today for your free inspection, and they'll work around your schedule to provide you the best solution possible to defend your home territory against pests of all kinds, including mold. Visit mypmsi.com for the game plan to control the pests on your home turf. That's mypmsi.com.
At Coke, our 67,000 U.S. employees make things that make your game days better, like fertilizer for greener turf and stronger paper products for tailgating. Viewing the game from your couch? Coke also makes the electronic components in TVs and smart devices so you can watch your Redskins victory anywhere. Coke, we make that. See it all at KOCHmakesthat.com. That's CokeMakesThat.com.
Winter is the season for adventure, and if you want a car as exciting as your lifestyle, then it has to be an all-wheel drive Honda SUV. With more features, the CR-V has standard Honda sensing, more room for friends, the Pilot has seating for 8, more comfort, the HR-V has available heated seats, and more rugged. The Passport is built for adventure with ample cargo space and hidden storage compartments. Winter adventure is calling, and Honda is ready to answer. See your local Honda dealer today.
I'm Daryl Green. I retired from football in 2004, but I'm still active in business. I'm a founding board member of Main Street Bank, a local community bank meeting the needs of businesses like yours. I'm speaking now to the most football knowledgeable, faithful, most caring folks in the world, the Redskins faithful fans. I'd like to ask you to consider banking with my bank, Main Street Bank. Trust me, you'll get high-tech products and personal service. Go to mstreetbank.com and tell them old number 28 sent you.
Main Street Bank, member FDIC.